everybody, welcome back to Bertie Budget, and it's a beautiful day, so we're going to take advantage of that after all that bloody rain we've had. And I'm going to have another go on this Keeway RKV125. What I want to do today is ruin that back end by putting stuff on it that legally has to go on it, like indicators and lights and everything. Yeah, I know there's an alternative of mounting it all on the side there, but I like that even less, so it is going on the back. There's the old back end there. The back light I'm not going to use because it's too big, which is a pity because I'd like to. The indicators I am going to use, yeah, they're a bit chunky, but this is a budget build and I'm going to use what I've got, plus they match the front ones, sort of. Reflector I'm probably going to try and use. Number plates, yeah, look better with a smaller one, but that one's going on. If the new owner wants to put a smaller one on, entirely up to them. With regards to backlight, routing through my stash, I've got this thing. It's not great, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to mount it, if I'm going to mount it. But that seems to be the thing that that people like to put on them. So I've got to fabricate up some sort of bracket to accommodate both that backlight, those indicators and that reflector. So far the spend on this bike, other than the purchase price, is a big fat zero. Yes, it has got a brand new tank and a brand new seat on it, and that light is brand new, and yes, at one point or another I did buy them, but they were bought for previous projects, never used, and thrown in my stash cupboard. So the actual spend, where I've actually gone out and spent money on this bike, well, I haven't so far. I'm using what I've got. Anyway, let's get set up, let's get that seat off, and let's see if we can figure a way of getting some rear lightage on it. Back soon. Right, I've been having a bit of a think, and I've got to be honest, I'm struggling as to how best to mount this light. I've got a bit of scrap metal there. I'll just get you guys down there. So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, I'll be honest. If I was to cut like a strip out of there like that, so a square piece, and then put a curve in that edge that matches that loop, weld that onto there, and then bend it down to mount that on. That's where I'm sort of going at the moment. This steel is a bit heavy for what I want, but it's all I've got. It's 3mm. I mean, it's going to be nice and firm, but and then that hopefully will mount on that bit of bent steel, probably at an angle. Don't think I've got any other lights, so it's a case of working with what we have. Yeah, let me get my cutting disc on, and let me slice out a piece of metal there, and where's it gone? Got a profile gauge somewhere, which I don't think I've ever used. There it is. So yeah, I don't know if you guys ever used one of these. Basically, push that in there, move it forward, and then it gives you the exact curve that you need to cut. So it's quite a gentle curve. If I was to cut that, weld it on there maybe. Anyway, look, I'm going to, it's one of these things where I've got to go away, have a bit of play around with different ideas, and then when I've settled on something I'll bring you guys for a look. Cheers. Right, it's slow progress, chaps, but this is what we've done so far. I've knocked up that bracket. Now I'll put a curve on it that follows the end of the hoop. 2 holes drilled through it. So that will mount on there, thus. And then, actually I could probably slice that down and have that a lot thinner. Might do that. But then, that obviously weld onto the back of that hoop. That gives us the rear light mounted. I've got to figure out the indicators, but that's where we are so far. Morning everybody. It's the next morning because I got bored yesterday and decided to call it a day. Can't even remember where I left off, but we'll blag it and do some editing and just bullshit our way around it. Anyway, look, I've made this bracket. A little bit crude, but nothing a nice thick old coat of paint won't hide. 2 holes drilled there. What we're now going to do is find a mat. I don't know if that shows up on the camera, but I've marked the centre line on that. Now I'm going to clean this paint off here, mark the centre on that, and then we're going to weld that to the back of that. That will mount us our backlight, hopefully. So I need to go over the whole thing with a flapper disc and just clean that up nicely, but we'll get all the welding done first. So welder time. My welder is about knackered. Well, the welder's fine. The torch is about knackered. And I need a new glass for that as well. That's, I can barely see out of that. Yeah, the torch is knackered. The welder is fine, but the price of a new torch, you know, you have to seriously consider whether you might as well buy a new welder. Bloody expensive. Anyway, let's drag it out. The welder I'm using, I've used it several times on the channel. I've not really spoke about it. So I will. Right, we'll just plug her in. It's a Clark. Let me get back here. Oh, bugger me, nearly went out of the shit. Yeah, it's a Clark Weld MIG 151EN. It's dual gas or no gas. It works much better with gas, but I use it in its no gas configuration, mainly because I'm too tired to buy gas and I don't really use it often enough to warrant having gas on it. You need the special wire on it for using it with no gas, so it generates its own gas. And then I believe, I can't remember now, but I think you have to swap those leads over at the bottom as well if you're going to use it with gas, because it operates in a different way. So yeah, that's my little setup. Right, next thing I need to do is find the centre of that bar there. So we are looking at 9 inches. Ooh, misses, 9 inches. Come here, you twat. Yeah, this is going to be a bit tricky actually. I'll tell you how we can do it. Let's put that is two, let's go metric. So that's about 230 mil. Now if I go, this is a bit Heath Robinson, but 230, so half of 230 is 115. So if we go to 115, which takes us to there, that gives us our centre line there. How Heath Robinson was that? Right, welder on. Now I don't normally film welding, mainly because if I fuck it up I can pretend I didn't and it's not on film and there's no evidence. Anyway, right, bracket, what I've done, well there it is. So we're going to get this tacked on, and as you go you see my torch is twisted and knackered and bent, so that's there. Fucking thing's jammed, it always jams as well. And get some snips. I really do need a new torch. Oh, it's well jammed. Oh, come on. I suppose really, I'm not sure, but you could probably weld without the shroud. Oh, that's well jammed. Let me free this off, guys, because I'm probably got to unclip the side of the welder and refeed the wire through. Back in a bit. Right, we're back in action, I think. Check settings. There. What have I done with my mask? Right, take two. I don't believe it, it's jammed up again. This is fucking useless. Right, turn you off again, guys. Let me unjam it. Right, this might be terminal, guys. The end of the torch is completely broken off. That's jammed in there. So let's whip this handle open. See what we got inside. Well, I'm just going to switch that on, just to see if you can see the wire. I don't know if you can see the wire, but it's twisted up there. I just want to turn it on and just see if that feeds through. And it does. That's a good thing. Turn it off again. Okay. So we can re-secure this on somehow. tip's a bit knackered. I think I've got some new ones somewhere. Gotcha. Okay, I'll snip the end of that off. I will get a bloody weld out of this. Right, where's the... What do I do with the shroud, guys? Any idea? Oh, here it is on the floor, right in front of me. So let's screw that back on. Okay. Let's momentarily turn that on to feed a bit of wire through. Off again. I think there's some quite high voltage travelling through this handle, so you have to be a bit careful. Right, put that back together and we'll turn it back on the bike and go for take 3. Right, what do you reckon, guys? Take 3. I think we can do it. That's better. Well, it'd be nice to get a bit underneath as well if I can, but if not, well, that's probably not going to fly, but we'll just do it. Fucking hot. Don't need welding underneath really, because I mean at the end of the day it's carrying a slight little light. Now, at risk of opening myself up to all sorts of comment and ridicule, I'm going to show you my welding close up. Pre-dressed. I will dress that up with a grinder. So yeah, let's clean that up, boys, and see if we can get a light mounted on it. Cheers. And after a little bit of a tickle up with the grinder, yes, for my next trick, I really ought to try and figure a way of getting the indicators on. In a perfect world, I'd buy new ones, and because these are just too damn big. But perfect world costs money, and I'm way too tight for that. Why spend money when you don't have to? I don't know if I can sort of utilise this old bracket in any way. Probably not. Yeah, I think I've got to knock up some sort of plate. In fact, be honest. By the time I've done that, might as well have bought some aftermarket ones. But then these match the front, so yeah, there is reason to. Right, let me have a think about which direction we're going to go and how we're going to mount the indicators. Probably more welding, and we'll come back and have a look at it. Right, I know I said I was going to do the indicators, but I decided to go ahead and test fit the rear light and number plate. And I've got to say, I don't think it looks too bad. That weld that I did, although acceptable, is on show. So I may just skim that over with a bit of filler just to neaten that up, only because it's on show. With hindsight, I would have probably had that in a bit more, not sticking out as far. Although having said that, the number plate has got to clear the suspension bottoming out, technically, hasn't it? So that we can bend that out a little bit. You'll also see I recycled the reflector off the old bike. Just screwed it to the bottom of the number plate. I may replace these with metal nuts and bolts rather than these plastic ones, because I never like them. But anyway, we're only test fitting at the minute. It's all going to come off to be painted and filled and what have you. But I don't think that looks three bad, do you? I don't think that looks bad at all. Hang on, my legs are falling apart. Sorry guys, I'm just got to fold you up a bit. I've had this stand years, but maybe it's coming to the end of its life. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Number plate fitted. With regards to indicators, I'll tell you what my plan is, although it'll probably change. My plans often do. I've got this piece of steel here, so what I'm going to do is mount that on that piece of steel and then probably slice it along there, and then either weld or screw that to the frame. I might bolt that actually, just to make it removable. So yeah, anyway, can we get you a side view, or is it too close to the shed? Yeah, it's probably too close to the shed, but yeah, it's coming together as well. I've also got an idea for filling this gap in here, which we spoke of in an earlier video. I won't go into that yet, but I have got an idea that I think will work. Right, onwards and upwards, let's do a bit more. Right, let's bring you up to date with what I've been up to. What I've been up to is making this very, very strange shaped bracket. Now, what are you going to do with that, Bertie Bodget? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because what my plan is, if I can get you in to see, which way round it. They're both the same, but it doesn't matter which way you round. Yes, that one. So I'm going to weld that onto there, like so. And what will happen there is, you see I've drilled two holes in it, which marries up with that. So we pop that in there. Apologies for the noise. That will weld on there, and that will give us our indicator mounting point. 2 points of note: minimum distance between the indicators are 240mm, so we meet that requirement, that's not a problem. Sorry about that. It was quiet until I started filming. back in a minute, hang on. Right, the second I turned the bloody camera off, he stopped drilling. You watch him start again now. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, we weld that on there. The problem is the number plate slightly covers that. I think I can legally get around that by trimming 1/4 of an inch off the side of the number plate. As long as I don't mess with the lettering, the size of the lettering or the spacing, I think that's perfectly legal. In fact, I think you can actually cut off all of the yellow around a number plate and still be legal, but don't hold me to that. But yeah, anyway, what we've got to do now is make another one of them, and then we'll get them tacked on, and at that point I'll probably bring you back. Right, a bit more to do. Right, okay, so we made a second bracket, identical. We've got that welded on, and we are ready. I mean, obviously it wants painting, but we can temporarily put that together. In fact, that's what I'm going to do, just to see how it looks. I'm going to slice down that number plate a bit, and then we'll put the seat and backlight on and see how she looks. But for an amateur, I'm quite proud of that. I know you professionals will probably say it's a bag of shite, but I'm pleased with it. Okay, right, let's put it together. Right, onwards and upwards, let's carry on. It's actually the next day. I called it a day yesterday. Right, anyway, I've started without you. Anyway, before I put this back end together, I'm just going to tidy it up a little bit. As you can see, I've put some filler on there, just waiting for that to go off, just to neaten it up. I want to get some black paint on it, just to protect the rust. I don't know whether I'm going to do a full tear down and get the frame properly sprayed, or whether I'm just going to touch it up. There's no real plan for this bike, it's just evolving as it goes. Incidentally, that hole there, which I've cut to, I'm going to put a grommet in there, let the cables through. I've done that with a step drill. I've had these damn things ages and I never ever used them. They are absolutely brilliant. Why didn't I know about these? Why didn't I use these before? They are fantastic. They tear through that metal. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Anyway, right, we're going to let that filler go off. While we're waiting for that, Mrs. Bodgett has left for work, and she said, if you get time, do you think you could run the mower over the lawn? When Mrs. Bodgett says, if you get time, can you just, what she means is, do it or you're dead. So, while we're waiting for that filler to go off, I'm going to push the mower around the lawn. I'm not going to film that, obviously, because this is not, what's his name? What's that geezer's name who does the gardening? Alan Tithead. Yeah, there's not an Alan Tithead show. Anyway, I'll crack on with that, and we'll come back when the filler's gone off, and well, we'll probably come back when we've painted that up and got a bit further along the line. Right, onwards and upwards, let's crack on. That is good advice. Right, that's the lawn mode. Let's crack on with this. Now, on this back end, the filler that I've put on there, when I took that off the shelf and mixed it, the hardener that you put in was extremely runny, because it's been on the shelf a long time, and I thought, sod it, it'll be alright, I'll use it. That's been on about 45 minutes, and that's, although it's gone off a little bit, it doesn't appear to be setting, so I'm going to leave that in the hope that it does eventually set up. Meanwhile, I want to jump on this front end. That headlight is ugly and it's got to go. The mudguard is way too fat and bulky for what I've got in mind. I want to try and put a little shorty mudguard on that. I haven't got one. so we'll have to try and find one of them. But while we're waiting for that back end to set up, let me drop the legs down on my stand, and we will crack on and try and start tearing this front end apart. Now, I've got no idea how this comes apart. I've already got a couple of bolts out of it, and we'll just start undoing shit until something drops off, I suppose. Now, are you going to let go? Oh yes. Interesting. Yeah. That might take some fettling and some jiggling to figure out how to get a conventional headlight on it. I'll tell you what I've got. I don't know if it's any good or whether it will fit, but I've got another one of these Zontes headlights. That might go. But anyway, let's get this one off. That all appears to be plug and socket. Let me just raise you up. You raise me up. Right. Yeah, you know what, I'm not a singer. Okay. Right, let's start just unplugging shit. Alright, so they can come off. Ah, right, they're just indicators. Yeah, we've got brown to green there. Why have we got brown to green? Okay. That one. What else we got? There's a lot of shit here. These forks, one of these forks is leaking as well, so this will all have to come apart at some point again in order to deal with that leaking fork, if indeed we ever get that far. One more. Sorry if you can't see, but I'm just wrestling this. Right, okay, we're good. We've got it off. They are some big fat old forks on that, I'll tell you. Hang on. Cool. Now, in order to fabricate a bracket, I'm going to have to set them big fat forks are going to cause a problem, you know. Let me just get a vernier gauge. I know you can get those aftermarket headlight brackets that just sort of bolt on here and stick forward, but two problems. They are massively wide apart, and also they're extremely thick. Let me just get a vernier. They're huge. That's reading 47mm. I mean, generally they're like 30, so that is massive. But yeah, anyway, there's something I can do, I'm sure. Let's go and take a look at this headlight. So that, so it's got a bracket on it there, but A, it appears to be part of the headlight, so I can't use it, and even if I could, it's plastic. So we'll put that aside for one bin. I won't bin that just yet. That's unusual, I've just noticed that. It's actually got two headlight bulbs in it. That could complicate things, because I'm assuming it's going to have one for headlight, one for main beam. So how I would mess with the wiring to make that work on a single headlight, I really have no idea. Is that metal or plastic? See, that's plastic as well. Everything's plastic. Right, I'm going to turn the camera off because I need to think about this for a little while to decide how I can rig up a single headlight on that. Back soon. Right, let's give you an understanding of where we are here, because I may have bitten off more than I could chew. What's that there? Well, so it's electronic speedo, so we've got to retain that. I've taken further bits and pieces off here. Right, I've stripped this headlight unit down further. So this is what we've got to do. We've got to come up with a headlight, because no way am I using that. That is pig ugly. So we've got to come up with a headlight and adapt the wiring where this is two separate high beam and low beam affairs. I've got to come up with either a twin headlight where one is high beam and one isn't, and then adapt the wiring to suit, or a single, you know, the conventional twin filament bulb, and adapt the wiring to suit. I've got no idea there. That's what I said. What's that there? So it seems to have two side lights there as well. I'll have to check that out. What are they for then? Are they some sort of running light? I really don't know. Okay, so we've got to overcome that headlight problem. We do want to use this speedo because it's got all the electronics in it. I've got to figure out how that comes apart, because I need to blank off that fuel gauge, which is that section there. Got an idea for that, as long as I can get it apart. We've also got to incorporate those indicators. So we've got to fabricate a bracket that holds an unknown headlight, those indicators, and those clocks, or that set of clocks, that also fits on the front of that. Now this may be stretching my fabrication skills beyond what I can do, so I'm going to have a good old think about this, and I've got to do some research on whether I can get the headlight I need. I have seen a headlight where you can get two side by side. I don't know if one of them is suitable for use as one high beam, one low beam. I also like the idea of one up, one down. Again, can we do that and one be high and one be low? So many questions. Right, no idea where I'm going now. Absolutely no idea whatsoever. Okay, going to go away, do some research and have a think. Cheers. Right guys, I think we're going to call it a night. I've packed everything away. Got to sleep on that bracketry. Decide how I'm going to do that. I've got a few ideas in mind, but we'll tackle this another day, and we'll also make a start on that front mudguard, see what we can do with that. Till the next one guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll catch you. Bertie Budget signing off.